For 17 years, the Rio Las Vegas was not just a hotel. It was the center of the poker universe. Since 2005, the World Series of Poker turned these hallways into a battleground for legends like Doyle Brunson and Phil Hellmuth. Every summer, the air here was thick with the smell of money, sweat, and nervous excitement. Even though it sat across the I-15, separated from the glamour of the Strip, it never felt isolated. It was a mandatory destination. But since the WSOP left in 2022, the Rio has lost its final anchor. And now, in 2026, when you walk in, you're faced with a question bigger than nostalgia. Is $350 million enough to save a drifting giant? Or is this just a fresh coat of paint on an obsolete machine? Let us look at the reality of this overhaul. Since Phase 1 wrapped up in September 2024, the Rio has become a case study in strange contrasts. If you book a room in the Ipanema Tower, you can see exactly where Dreamscape's money went. For about $100 a night, you get 582 square feet of space. This is a luxury of square footage you will never find at Caesars or Bellagio for that price. New marble floors, modern design, the faint scent of affordable luxury. It is clean. It is promising. But the story changes completely the moment you step out of the elevator and walk toward the Masquerade Tower or the untouched wings. That is when the hard truth hits. Even though foot traffic has ticked up slightly thanks to conventions and bargain hunters, the emptiness is undeniable. Especially midweek, the vast casino floor feels cold and hollow. Overall, Vegas tourism is down 7% this past year, and the Rio feels it the most. You have these excellent 4-star rooms, but you have to walk through deserted casino pits where dealers stand with their arms crossed, staring into space. Guests on Reddit and TripAdvisor call this a disconnected experience. You enjoy the comfort of your room, but the moment you step outside, you're reminded that you're stranded on the far side of the highway, relying entirely on Uber to find any real life. The self-service check-in kiosks are glitchy, and even in the new rooms, you might still find a leaky shower. These are small signals that management has not quite caught up to its own ambitions. Today, we are not just looking at the new paint. We are going to analyze whether the Rio is truly reviving, or if it is simply becoming a luxury motel lost in a desert of obscurity. If you appreciate an honest, unfiltered look at how Las Vegas is changing, I invite you to subscribe and join me as we uncover the rest of this story. The most jarring part of staying at the Rio in 2026 is not the construction noise. It is the silence. When you leave the crisp, bright lobby of the Ipanema Tower and head towards the Masquerade Tower, you are physically walking back in time. It is a time machine effect that no marketing brochure will warn you about. In the Ipanema wing, the air is filtered, the lighting is cool LED, and the carpets are plush. But cross that invisible line into the Masquerade sector, and the atmosphere instantly gets heavier. The ceiling heights feel lower. The carpet patterns shift to those busy, dizzying designs from the early 2000s meant to hide stains and keep you awake. The smell changes too. It is that stubborn, baked-in aroma of 20 years of cigarettes and old HVAC systems that no amount of industrial air freshener can fully mask. While the Ipanema rooms compete with the Strip, the Masquerade rooms are still stuck in a different era. Chipped furniture, yellowing thermostats, and bathrooms that feel like a Motel 6. This is the Phase 2 that everyone is waiting for. But right now, it stands as a monument to what the Rio used to be: tired, dark, and neglected. This creates a psychological condition I call construction fatigue. It is not about dodging bulldozers. It is the visual exhaustion of seeing "Pardon our dust" signs that have been hanging for so long they are starting to collect dust themselves. You see walled-off sections of the casino floor wrapped in graphics promising something amazing is coming. But when you peek through the gaps, often you do not see workers or equipment. You just see empty space, concrete, darkness. For an older guest, this is unsettling. We understand that renovations take time. But when you walk past the same dormant construction barrier for 3 days straight without seeing a single hard hat, you start to wonder, is work actually happening? Or did the money just stop flowing to this section? It kills the vacation vibe. You do not feel like a guest at a resort. You feel like an intruder in a warehouse that is not quite ready for business. To be fair to Dreamscape, we have to acknowledge the sheer scale of this beast. We are talking about 2,500 rooms and over 100,000 square feet of gaming space. Turning a ship this size does not happen overnight. But here is the friction point for the consumer. The hotel is operating as if it is a fully cohesive resort, but it delivers a fractured experience. They are selling you the Ipanema dream, but half the property is still living the masquerade nightmare. If you are walking to the convention center, you pass through these dead zones. If you want to grab a quick bite, your options are often limited to the finished zones, creating bottlenecks while vast areas sit unused. It feels less like a grand reopening and more like a soft opening that has dragged on for 2 years. And for a traveler in their 60s who remembers when the Rio was the pinnacle of all-suite luxury, this half-dressed state is not just inconvenient, it is heartbreaking. Before we go down to the casino floor to see if the heart of the resort is still beating, I have a small request. If you appreciate reviews that cut through the corporate spin, please consider subscribing. It helps us keep these deep dive investigations going. Let us walk down to the casino floor. This is where the $350 million renovation becomes a paradox. The carpets are new, the lighting is modern, but something critical is missing. The workforce. Dreamscape management has not announced mass layoffs in the headlines. That would be bad PR. Instead, what we are seeing is a silent purge, a strategy familiar to anyone who watches corporate takeovers. Maria, a cocktail server who has worked at the Rio since 2004, explained the mechanics of this decline. She told me they did not fire the veterans. They just cut our shifts from 5 days to 3, then to on-call. They starve you out until you quit. The result is visible on the floor. Maria pointed to the blackjack pit, saying in the old days, "We had 2 or 3 servers just for this high-limit section. We anticipated your drink before you finished it. Tonight? It is just me covering this entire zone, plus the slots. When you see a line at the bar or wait 20 minutes for a gin and tonic, it is not an accident. It is a calculation. They are betting that you will accept half the service for the same price. This lack of human presence creates a strange atmosphere. If you walk through the main floor on a Tuesday or Wednesday evening, the silence is heavy. A casino should sound like money. Chips clacking, machines ringing, people shouting at the craps table. But here, the dominant sound is often distant maintenance. Because the renovation is phased, you're gambling inside a construction site. The silence of the empty floor is occasionally broken not by a jackpot bell, but by the dull vibration of a hammer drill somewhere on the upper levels. It is a jarring contrast. It reminds you constantly that this building is a patient on the operating table and the surgery is not going well. It feels less like a resort and more like a waiting room. The energy that once made the Rio the home of the World Series of Poker, that electricity has been replaced by a sterilized, hollow quiet. Management will point to the new 65-inch 4K TVs in the rooms and the digital check-in kiosks as proof of luxury. But they misunderstand their own audience. I received a comment from a subscriber named David. a retired contractor from Chicago who visited last month. He summed up the problem better than any financial analyst could. He wrote, "I do not come to Vegas to watch TV. I have a big TV at home. Five-star service is not a new screen on the wall. Service is people. It is a bartender who knows your name. It is a bellman who grabs your bag before you ask. And here, the people are missing." David is right. By removing the friction of human interaction to save money, they have removed the hospitality. What is left is a beautiful, empty shell. So, how does a lonely giant survive without a crowd? Dreamscape's answer was to call for backup. In March 2024, the Rio officially joined the World of Hyatt loyalty program. On paper, this looks like a smart marriage. In reality, it is creating a confusing divorce. Consider the experience of Robert, a Hyatt Globalist member, the highest tier of loyalty. He represents the exact customer Rio is trying to attract. Robert told us he booked the Rio expecting the standard Hyatt treatment, free breakfast, waived fees, seamless service. Instead, he walked into a culture clash. He described standing at the front desk for 20 minutes while a clerk tried to figure out if his globalist status entitled him to skip the resort fee. The system was not syncing. The free breakfast was not a buffet, but a confusing credit at a coffee counter. Robert said it felt like staying at a motel that just slapped a Hyatt sticker on the door. The promise was 5-star loyalty, but the reality was still budget casino policy. This partnership is a lifeline, not a merger. It reveals that the Rio brand alone is no longer strong enough to fill these 2,500 rooms. They are borrowing credibility, but as Robert found out, you cannot borrow culture. And that brings us to the most brutal reality of all, the geography. In the brochure, the Rio is just off the strip. In practice, it is on an island. Let me tell you about Jim and Linda, a couple in their 60s who remembered the 90s when walking from the Rio to Caesar's Palace was a common adventure. They tried to do it again last week. They stepped out the front door and were immediately hit by the reality of 2026 infrastructure. They described navigating broken sidewalks, breathing in exhaust fumes from the I-15 overpass, and waiting at crosswalks that felt more like highway off-ramps. Halfway there, surrounded by traffic and desert heat, they gave up. Jim told me they turned around and called an Uber. It cost them $22 to go 1 mile because of surge pricing. That $20 was the tax they paid for staying at a bargain hotel. The free shuttles that used to run like clockwork are gone or unreliable. The Rio is betting that value will bring you here. But when a simple dinner on the Strip requires a logistical battle or a $50 round-trip taxi, that cheap room suddenly becomes very expensive. Finally, we have to talk about the money. Dreamscape is fighting a battle that has defeated others before. We only need to look at the SLS Las Vegas debacle for a history lesson. Back in 2014, investors poured $415 million into the old Sahara, trying to make an aging building cool again. They had celebrity chefs and fancy carpets, just like the Rio does now. The result? The SLS lost over $120 million in its first 9 months. It was a financial bloodbath. Why? Because no amount of renovation could change the fact that it was in a bad location with no foot traffic. Dreamscape is walking that exact same tightrope. They are burdened with high interest rates and a renovation budget that keeps climbing. Every empty slot machine chair is a tick on a time bomb. They are trying to do the impossible, charging premium prices for an isolated property, relying on a fresh coat of paint to hide the age of the bones. As the SLS proved, you can change the furniture, but you cannot easily change the geography. So, Is the Rio worth your money? The answer is a conditional yes, but. If you're a solo traveler who just needs a clean, 580 square foot room to sleep in between poker sessions, the Rio is a functional choice. It is a utility, not a destination. But if you're coming here for the Las Vegas experience, for the magic, the service, and the atmosphere, my verdict is a hard no. Dreamscape has fixed the plumbing and painted the walls, but they cannot renovate the geography or resurrect a dead atmosphere. You can change the furniture, but you cannot fix the isolation. And a specific warning to those of us who remember the old Rio. Do not come back here looking for your memories. If you loved the masquerade show and the world-class buffet, stay away. If you return now, you will not find the past. You will only find a quiet, echoey casino floor served by a skeleton crew. It is better to keep your memories intact than to watch them fade in an empty hallway. Las Vegas is changing. The corporations are betting you will not notice the difference between luxury and cost-cutting. Prove them wrong. If you have stayed at the new Rio, or if you remember the old one, leave a comment below. Warn your fellow travelers. And to find out which casinos still treat you like a guest instead of a transaction, make sure you're subscribed. Vote with your wallet. Stay sharp.